Me too. End of April. I am in the middle of a book launch. My debut novel will be launched and released on July the 15th. So I have been up to my eyeballs in trying to learn all the things because I didn't know what all was involved in a book launch. And it is very, very detailed, a lot of stuff to have to be done. And people think you write a book and that's it. And that is not the case at all. So
Well,
that's what I've been doing, trying to learn,
do you
trying
have
to
a
learn.
book launch club?
I have a book launch Facebook group, not a club, but a
Oh,
group
what?
who is helping me. With
Okay.
about 33 people in it.
How many?
33.
33. So, what do book launch teams do?
Well, I go on there and I tell them, I made this meme, and if you're able to make memes, because I'm not the best meme maker in the world, and some of them are very, very good at it. So I will say, here's the book cover, take it and do whatever you can with it, and make memes. So I have a few people who are really making really good memes and sharing those, but they share things with Twitter and Facebook. They get the word out. They just generally get the word out to let people know about your book. That's what their whole purpose is for, is to so that you're not doing all the promotion. And they're invaluable. I love my launch team. Couldn't do it without them.
You have been, and we were speaking this afternoon, and we got kind of involved there's there's a lot to writing a book. That's a job, but writing the book, that is really just the beginning. And
That's
a lot
true.
of people don't even know that going in. They may have already written a book, and then they find out they would like to get it published. But there's just so many steps, and what they do, if you're smart, okay, or they'll probably be advised by some peers, you need to go to a writers' conference where
Mhm.
the entire vista of everything, your eyes are open to an entire new world. And this is a journey that you've been down, but you have taken it more serious than others. How many writers' conferences have you been to?
Well, Blue Ridge Mountains Christian Writers Conference, this would be my seventh one, but my doctor is not letting me go this year. He said absolutely not because of my age and some health issues. So he does not want me to go, even though it's in November this year. He said no, I would not have been able to have done it in May for sure. So we'll just wait and see how that plays out. But it would have been my seventh one. I've been to, I think, 6 novel retreats. I've been to 3 marketing retreats. I've been to the North Georgia Christian Writers Conference, which is sponsored by Word Weavers International. I have been to, is that all? I think so. I think that's about it. I've been to some online ones. You know, She Writes for Him. I did an online one with
Hmm.
them just a couple of weeks ago, and that was very good. That was my first online conference with 300 or 400 people in it. It worked really well. So,
Yeah, that's interesting because everything is transitioning to virtual.
yes.
Necessity is the mother of invention. Okay,
Yes, it is.
going to conferences, I've gone to 3, even though I'm not a writer.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be a writer to understand. First, you have to clear your schedule, okay, for several
Okay.
days. You have to travel. You have to get a hotel room. You have to eat,
That is
okay.
true.
These, while they are a good investment, usually or generally, that's a lot of money when you add it all up. I mean, I budget when I go to a conference way up north. I budget like $1,600, and I don't even have to
Yes.
pay to get in. You say it can't be that much. Well, it is if you count all the
It is.
cost.
It is. It is. People don't realize how much it costs. It costs a lot of money to be a writer. It really is. It's not. It's not one of those. Just, oh, I'm going to write a book and that's it. You know, the conferences are. Well, they can be expensive. The online ones have been pretty inexpensive. There was one the other day, a major conference just this past week. The Kentucky Christian Writers Conference was only $20.20, and people are raving about it. Just absolutely. Hallie Bridgman directed that, and it was an excellent. I did not do it because I got in too late because of the book launch. I was just up to my eyeballs and stuff, and I just forgot to register for it, so I missed that one. But
But you
people have been
have
raving about
been
it, so
well. You've been to several conferences in
I
person.
have. I have.
What were some of the surprises? You know, what did meet your expectation? What were some of the surprises?
Some of the well on the it's not really a negative because there's so much information, but with they only have like a certain amount of time to get all the information to you, and that's to be understood. There's only, and they're trying to feed all of that to you that they can. So in that, there's a lot left on the table. So they give you the tools, and then you have to go home and figure out what are you going to do with those tools. So it can be a little daunting, to figure out the. And I'm not a techie, and I did. So when I got home from the first couple of ones that I went to, once I won an award with this book, and I thought, man, I better be doing something because it sounds like maybe this book will go somewhere. So I hired a social media coach because I didn't know how to do all the things needed to know how to do. I just didn't know. She taught me how to set up my blog, and she taught me how to set up an Instagram, a Twitter account, get on Hootsuite. So those things, you may have to hire somebody to do once you
I
get
think
home
one
if
of
you're
the
not an intuitive.
reality checks. Okay, people
Yes.
are first of all very enthused if they're a writer and they've written something. They're very enthused about their
Yes.
work. Well, I mean, of
Yes.
course they should be. If you're not, I mean, go do it again until you are. But then they arrive at the conference and you meet all these wonderful people who want to help you, and you make friends, and man, when you're coming home and you are pumped up.
Yes.
Then you get home, you unpack your clothes, you do the laundry, you sit down and you start to ingest and digest all that's just happened, and you start to realize, oh, I need to do a blog. you know,
Yes.
what's that? What's a blog?
Yes.
And so a lot of writers I see, and I'm singling out writers. This is really just human nature. They start a blog, and the first one comes out, and they say, okay, I'm going to do this weekly because I've been told to do it on a regular schedule, and weekly's the right,
Yes.
So the second one, okay, but the third one, and then they start to realize that their creativity is being siphoned off into trying to make the fourth blog as interesting as the first, and then they start looking at their analytics, and they're saying, no one's looking at this. Did you experience anything like that? Does this sound familiar?
Well, I really didn't. And I still don't look at the analytics that much. I have some blogs that maybe one or two people might have seen it, but I have some that, 1,000 people have seen. But once I put it on Pinterest, I'm telling you, that's when it just took off. And I have had as many as 14,000 people in 1 month see my blogs once I put it on Pinterest. And that was amazing. I had no idea that that would happen. But because I've been in this book launch and have not been able to pay attention to Pinterest, my Pinterest numbers are going down right now. I did look at that today, but
Well,
I'll get back in there and put some original content. Original content is what really makes your Pinterest numbers go up. So,
well, yeah, and that's not unique to Pinterest either.
No, it isn't.
Sometimes when we're Sunbelt girl, Barbara and I, we have to kind of scan for a new guest to invite, and
yeah.
one of the litmus tests is, you see this author, you see a post on social media, you go to their website, you go to their blog, and the most recent blog entry is 2016.
Yes.
That kind of clues you in that they're maybe not as serious about this as we thought.
Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah. I have written consistently for 3 years now, a little bit over 3 years, I think. And I try to be very consistent with it because Edie Melson, who was my social media coach, I don't mind telling everybody that that's who I hired to teach me that. If you're going to hire somebody, hire the best. And that's what I did. And she taught me all of these things. And that was one of the first things that she told me is that once you start this, you must be consistent with it. You have to do it every week. I'm not one of those people who can write ahead of time. I just don't do that because I don't know. I just don't do that. I did that once or twice, maybe with I have a one of my blog posts. There are 3 in a row that I did. That's a questionnaire for families to take to family reunions, for genealogy purposes. And that I did ahead of time because it was really easy to do that. But I just write mine. I'll write it tomorrow for Thursday. So,
I guess the reality check that I'm trying to make others aware of that might be watching this and they're beginning a journey into writing and authoring is folks, there's a lot of stuff out there that is not you're looking at the tip of the iceberg. You recently had somebody you were working with on what were you telling me that you've been like a several week thing where they're helping you, I guess, with, is it graphics or is it editing but my point is this, you're going to be, if you really want to make this successful, you're going to be investing. Once you've written the manuscript, the work has only begun. What are some, what is, and I'm not a writer, so kind of navigate through that minefield and tell us your journey. What you had, you hired this person, you hired that person, you hired another.
I did.
And let me ask you this before you do that. Would you have known all that before you started? Would you have done it?
My husband and I talked about that recently. Probably so because, to write is just something that you feel you've got to get that book done. I wish that I had done it at a much earlier age, but I'm telling you that don't let that be a deterrent to you just because you're of a certain certain age, please don't stop, because look at what's happening to me. I'm 70 years old and I'm about to have my first book launched in 3 weeks from Wednesday. And so I guess I probably would still do it, but I would think, know ahead of time what was expected and what the expectations are. I think I would have liked to have known that, maybe to have prepared a little bit better for that, because it is a lot of intense work. It really is. And people think you just write the book and turn it over to somebody and the publisher buys it and you're done. But that's
You
not,
start
that's just
cashing
the
the
beginning.
checks, yeah.
That's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. Yeah.
I hear you. It's so there's a minefield. Who are some of the experts or professionals that you have either hired or consulted, whatever? The beginning writer, what do they not know? They're going to be told to do a blog. Did you know how to do a
Yes.
blog?
I did not know how to do a blog.
How'd you figure it out?
That's where Edie came in.
All right.
Everybody said, well, you got to know. I had no clue how to set up an Instagram account, how to set up. I didn't know how to do a tweet. I had no idea how to do that. I didn't know how to use Hootsuite, which is a scheduling implement that writers use or can use. There's another one called Buffer. I don't know all of the names of all of them, but I schedule things on there. I did a couple of things today that I put on there. That one went out at 6 o'clock and one went out at 8 o'clock, and I did that in the early afternoon so that it would go out tonight. But I had no clue how to do that. That's where Edie Melson came in. She's the social media guru. I hired her to help me because I really didn't know anybody else that knew those things. And I knew her. She lived not too far from where I am. And but at the time, actually, when I hired her, I think that I was in Florida for a great deal of that time. So, but we met face to face online. Like not face to face, but online,
Right.
like we're doing right now. So
Sure. And so that was for social media help. What about
yes.
photo shoots, graphics, logos? How did you manage that?
Okay, the logo that came when I had to set up my website, my author's website, and I didn't do that myself. I had to hire somebody to do that because I don't have the ability to do that. They say WordPress is easy. Well, well, yeah, maybe if you're 20 or 30 or 40, or maybe you have technological skills that I just don't have. So there was no way that I was going to do that. I hired Katrina Glover. And she set up my web page for me. She's Kika Design. I'm not here to advertise, but he asked, and she did a good job with my web page. And I'm so glad that I didn't have to go and do all of those things. In the back of the scenes now, my son is managing some things for me that I don't have to take care of. He goes in and says, you need to do this, you need to do that. This person did this person did that, and trying to keep up with all of those things that have to do with comments that are made on my blog. If I don't happen to see those, he will flag me and say, you need to go and fix this and that kind of thing. So I'm glad to have a son that knows about those things. So that's nice.
We got a couple minutes left. Let's talk about this new book that you have coming up, Grave Consequences.
Grave Consequences. It is a genealogy mystery. It is set in South Alabama. We talked about that the last time. My little hometown of Andalusia, Alabama. I use that lovely little town as my model for Loblolly, Alabama, because there's a huge pine forest behind the mansion that's there called Rose Haven. And it's an amateur genealogist. And when she goes digging up dirt, she unearths a long-kept family secret which leads to grave consequences. And her name happens to be Charlotte Graves. So it kind of all fit together. So, and there's a missing grave. And she's looking for a missing grave. And there's a murder and lovely town people and some not so lovely townspeople. So.
Well, I live in a town smaller than Andalusia, Alabama. I've been to Andalusia. Wonderful place. I think your husband, is that Adam?
Adam is my son.
Okay, yeah,
my husband
he's
is
in
Jim.
the chat room. Now, your book is going to be out next month. Is it already available on Amazon?
It is available on Amazon. You can pre-order it there, and it's going to be.
Go get the link. Adam,
Yeah, go get
the link and put it in the chat room. Okay.
Yeah, Adam, go get the link and put it in the chat room.
we're going to put him to work. You thought this was free. No, you got to.
It releases July the 15th, which is the day after my daddy's 100th birthday. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay.
So.
Well, yeah, a century later, you finally got something. He can finally be proud of you. He
can finally be proud of me. I hope he is.
Well, I hope you sell a jillion of them. I really do.
Well, thank you so much.
Because it's a fun journey. But thanks
It
for
is.
kind of sharing with us. That there's so many doors. Once you go through that first door, you find out that there's just
Yes.
it's almost a minefield, and it can be a discouragement. And we don't want to scare anybody from pursuing their passion. But at the same time, there's so many people frustrated that they're not. They have these expectations. If I can just get this book written, people are going to buy it, and I'm just, I'm going to live. No, the work is just starting.
The work is just started.
It's like a farmer. You can plant your field. Yeah, okay, field's planted. Needs to be watered, needs to be fertilized. Oh, the weeds start. There can be a wonderful and glorious harvest, but not until. That verse about, that Jesus actually said, God cannot be mocked, for as a man soweth, so shall he also reapeth.
Yeah.
Well, I would add to that, you reap after you sow. You don't sow and then, you don't reap and then sow. You sow, then reap. There's a time there. And there's a lot of work in between, but also you reap what you sow. Okay, but you reap more than you sow. So whatever you're sowing, it's going to come back multiplied. So that can be good, or it can be not good. Depends on what you're sowing.
And
right?
you're sowing good things here by giving authors a chance to appear on your show and giving them word with their ministry. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
Because
for taking
what we
your
do is a ministry, and what you do is a ministry.
It is. My ministry is to help yours, Deborah. That's the way we do it. So, well, I tell you what, I'm going to be ministering to Casper in just a few moments, so we're going to have to make room for him. Deborah, thanks for sharing with us, and come visit in the chat room and talk to the people there. I see Adam's already doing that, but come on and see us, and we'll scoot out of here and get ready for Casper, who's coming up in just a few minutes. But thanks for sharing. I appreciate it.
Oh, and you froze again. But that's okay.
You did.
Bye-bye.
There we go. We're good. All right, folks. PJNet.TV continues at the bottom of the hour. Casper will be here, and he's got plenty to say. I won't preempt anything he says. I will ask you 2 questions before I leave you that I would hope that you would ask yourself. The first one is this. What is the boldest thing that you've ever done for Jesus Christ? Question number 2 is this. How long ago was that? See, I think the challenge, folks, is to never be satisfied with either answer.